This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, here I am again. And this week, well, it's like I figured like a couple weeks ago when we did our Robert Kirkman centric podcast, I realized, hey, you know what? He's like the first guy we've actually talked about, like as a creator. It's like the first guy I've actually given a podcast to in terms of like following on a single creator. And everyone's like, you know, I like Kirkman a whole lot, but he's not my absolute favorite person. And I'm not saying the person that I'm about to do the podcast on right now is my absolute favorite comic writer is, but he's one of the most important and prolific writers working in comics today. I speak, of course, of Warren Ellis, a very cranky cigarette smoking English writer who basically likes about the the ills of mankind, but he's got a very very cynical worldview. But he also likes to write about people who are also trying to their best to fight against that tide. Yeah, and he also likes talking about upgrading people with Bluetooth as well.
So what does Warren Ellis write about?
Okay.
What has he given us?
Well, right now I'm going to talk about his creator-owned series, stuff that he's written, not as work for hire, but that stuff that he can actually say he owns. And let's see, digging up from the pile right here, I'm going to talk about one of his more recent series called Fell. Okay. Fell is the story of Detective Richard Fell, like a guy who was sentenced to work out in a town called Snowtown, which is basically like a really crappy police station. It's basically got occupied by 2.5 people, and he's basically like working there to try and solve crimes. Now, well, Ellis has talked a lot about the whole idea of decompression, which is basically like, you know, how basically Marvel, like a certain Marvel or superhero story would be told in like a great epic world-spanning clash of like galaxies and everything. We told in the space of 2 issues. Well, Warren's big on giving stories room to breathe. You know, like this kind of story would be told in like 6 issues or more. And well, that style of storytelling has got knocked a lot in recent years because basically it's just described as writing for the trade instead of writing for the single issue. His work with Fell is basically like single stories told in 16 pages.
So kind of like an anthology type volume.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's all focuses on the various cases that Fell encounters, like a guy who died of alcohol poisoning, another guy who basically tries to save himself by ripping out fetuses, a mad bomber who's lurking in a dressing room, and all sorts of crazy weird stuff.
So kind of your just slightly out of the norm thriller type stories.
Yes.
Okay.
And overall, these stories are very well done. I mean, he's helped immensely by the work of Ben Templesmith, best known for his work with Steve Niles on 30 Days of Night. And he basically gives the whole world and city of Snowtown a very, very surreal and very haunted house aspect, very look to it. And while one of my big issues with Ellis, though, is that he writes a lot of stuff, but there are some series where he'll just be working on, and then he'll just go on hiatus for no reason at all, due to the artist or just due to the fact that he's too damn busy. Fell is one of these series because, well, see, the trade paperback that's out right now collects the first 8 issues. There's been a 9th issue, but there's been no indication whether or not there's going to be any more past that, which is disappointing. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of other series that came out, that took a while to come out, Global Frequency, available in 2 volumes, Planet Ablaze, Volume 1, and Detonation Radio, Volume 2.
Okay.
Yeah, this series, quite good, was always a TV series on the WB.
Really?
Yeah, starring none other than Admiral Kane.
Oh, okay. What's her name? Michelle Forbes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically, the Global Frequency is a group of 1,001 humans, each with like their own specialty, like special knowledge or special abilities, so that they can be sent out into just about any situation. Now Michelle Forbes would have been Miranda Zero, the mother, the mother hen of the entire organization.
Mm-hmm. That would make sense. That fits her casting type, I think.
Yeah, especially since I heard that she and Ellis got along very well. It's like they smoke a lot too.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the series is basically like 12 not very connected one shots. I mean, like, yeah, they all focus on they're all part of the Global Frequency, but they're all like very individual stories. And it's like they're generally all they're very good for the most part. I mean, you focus on the guy who's got like a teleportation device in his brain, and the frequency fighting against a guy who is modified to whose body is modified to the point of he's not having any human parts in him anymore. See, a group of people who were driven insane by some sound waves in a Scandinavian community.
As a result of a government experiment.
Yes. Let's see. An episode where Miranda Zero herself is captured by some white supremacists. An episode where one of the guys is dragged into a Japanese research facility where they've tried to build new things out of human parts.
Oh.
And the final story where basically we find out that the U.S. government has gotten plans to basically kill off the human race to a certain point, to a more manageable level.
Wow, and the WB rejected this plot, or what? I mean,
basically, what I heard was that they made the pilot, which you can actually find online.
Okay.
And basically, it was all scheduled to go, and then there was a regime change at the WB.
Wow.
So basically, once that happened, nothing else was gonna happen.
No, that's too bad.
Yeah, that's too bad. Especially since like the stories here are generally really, really quite good. Yes, I wish we could have gotten more out of this. And I've heard Ellis talk about how we might do another like graphic novel, which instead of like several different stories, it would just be one story with a frequency. But these 2 volumes, quite good in and of themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, another series that has also suffered from great delays over the years. I mean, we're still waiting for the final issue to come out so they can put it in the paperback and we get the entire series, is Planetary. Basically, it's a story of a group called Planetary, made up of Jessica Wagner, a person with like great physical strength and agility. The drummer, who is basically like, got the ability to communicate with any electronic device in the world, and the mysterious Elijah Snow, who basically specializes in heat subtraction. And he's a cold bastard.
Right.
And Planetary is basically an excuse for Ellis to play with all sorts of like genre conventions over the years. Like, I mean, you get to see him, the Justice League of America, or excuse me, people who are supposed to represent the Justice League fight against the pulp heroes of comics like the Shadow and Doc Savage.
Gotcha.
Also, like them taking on monsters from Godzilla, like Hong Kong action films. Let's see, 50s B movies, the Tarzan mythos. It's like all sorts of stuff like that.
Okay, so it kind of goes all out on the fiction universe, basically.
Yeah, so it's a great series of stories, and the 3 volumes you've got so far are All Over the World and Other Stories, Fourth Man, and Leaving the 21st Century. And it's good stuff. It also helps that he's got a great artist in John Cassaday. Of course, the problem with Cassaday is that he works pretty slowly. I mean, he took a while for him to illustrate all of Joss Whedon's stories for Astonishing X-Men. And while I hear that he's working on the final capstone issue for Planetary, there's no word on when exactly it's going to come out. Yeah. Still, though, the 3 volumes available are very, very entertaining. And also, you also understand why the Fantastic Four are such complete and utter bastards. Because the main antagonists of the story are a group known as the Four, which basically is like, it's like the Fantastic Four. I mean, there are these superheroes who just go on like great scientific adventures and create all sorts of inventions to like better humanity. Right. Why is humanity bettered by them? Because they don't want to share. Yeah. And Ellis's interpretation of this in this series, is a great little twist on their whole modus operandi. How if they had acted like this in real life, they would have just been like the worst people ever. Yeah. However, when it comes to let me back up for a second, because Ellis, he does a lot of stuff. I mean, like I said, he's got a great interest in tech, like when people in cynical people fight trying to like make a more honorable world. He also does like wind up repeating himself a whole lot. I mean, you'll find that in Top Cows, Best of Warren Ellis, Down, and Tales of the Witchblade, which I picked up for $6 at Comic-Con. I honestly would have paid less, but it's like you'll see him repeat a lot of themes and just in his stories, and really a lot of his stuff you read, he's got a lot of his dialogue ticks like really shine through a whole lot. I mean, it's not bad. It takes a while to get used to.
Okay.
Still, however, if you want Ellis at his absolute best, it has to be Transmetropolitan.
Okay.
Transmetropolitan is the story of Spider Jerusalem, a gonzo journalist who gained great fame in writing about the ills of society and society in the future, and then was driven up to the mountain after he couldn't take living with humans anymore. So then, however, he's called back by his publisher, who basically tells him, "Yeah, you owe us 2 goddamn books, Spider. You can get your ass back here. We're going to see your ass in a debtor's prison." And after Spider gets this word from his publisher, he realizes he's got to go back down to the world and write more journalism. Now, one of the things I like about Transmetropolitan, aside from this main arc, is that it's basically the way the future is presented in this series. This is what the future is going to be like more than anything else. Because like all these crazy ass inventions, devices that can replicate anything from the molecules in the air, or just trash that you dump in from anywhere, like reservations where the past cultures are preserved, like religion springing up every 24 hours in the city. Oh, just like all sorts of crazy stuff like that. It's like, I realize it's gonna be there's gonna be new stuff. There's gonna be crazier stuff. There's gonna be all sorts of insane. But really, like the basic nature of humanity isn't gonna change at all, because we're just gonna go about our regular lives. We're just gonna be looking for like the best escape, finding ways to cope with all the craziness in our lives, and also the politicians are still gonna lie, which is basically going to be the main thrust of the series, because while Spider Jerusalem gained great fame through covering the original presidential election, that he basically covered the election of a man known only as the Beast. He's basically just like a really unpleasant little man who just wants to run things the way he does, and just like regular man, just to hell with them. The new presidential election basically focuses on the Beast versus the man that Jerusalem terms only as the Smiler, the guy who is only going to be nice, say anything that people will want to hear, just be their friend, only to really screw with them in the end. Because really, it's like, well, I say that that Transmetropolitan basically shows the future as it's going to be. It's like Ellis really outdid himself in the sense that that in the Smiler, he basically created a character who basically pretty sure represents everything that's happened to us in the last 8 years under the Bush presidency. Oh God! And really, it's one. Well, I'm not gonna. I can't really tell you that saying that. Yeah, he eventually wins in the end. As like it's still like really something else to see that he actually managed to predict something like this. I mean, but it's really. I mean, it's like stuff. What he says right here. I mean, like it's basically he's just like putting human nature bare, like in the future. I mean, like yeah, like I said, it's all going to change. All the physical trappings are going to change, but humanity, it's still going to be the same, no matter what. Mm-hmm. And also, the series is aided immensely. Like I used that term before, but really, Derek Robertson, fantastic artist. I mean, he's great at detailing all the various expressions and physicality of all the characters in the series. He's got a great eye for detail, especially in detailing all the futuristic landscapes and all the crazy shit that Warren requires him to draw. It's like it's one of the series. Like I tell you, it's even though it's going to be, DC is basically reformatting the series to be in 10 volumes instead of like just one volume of 3 issues, another volume of 9 issues, and the rest in 6. But still, it's like any way you own the series, it's one of the best graphic novel series I've ever read. Hands down, it's like this is one you have to own for your library. Mm. And if you don't, well, it's not that you're a bad person. It's just you're really just denying yourself something good. Yeah. So really, on that note, it's like more than anything else, Transmetropolitan, one of the absolute best.
Awesome.
Yeah. And on that note, we're calling it a night. And next time, though, we're focused on Ellis's more work for hire stuff. So stuff while he's been a big proponent of writing stuff for yourself, as Robert Kirkman has mentioned, going back to let's talk about the very beginning. Mm-hmm. Ellis also realizes that, hey, you know what? If you actually want to eat, you gotta like be willing to work work in mainstream Marvel and DC comics as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, but as some of this has shown, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But we'll talk about that later.
All right, and we'll see you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
Night.